the individual guys, who were coming in and who I talked to Saturday. Everett Smalley was one. What was it about him as a freshman in spring that kind of made you guys think he could handle it as a sophomore? Because don't play a lot of sophomores from the start.
Yeah, true. I think Everett moves really, really well, has really quite a grasp of football. Certainly the detail that's involved to being an offensive lineman for us, there's an immense amount that's there, just in terms of the timing, some of the footwork, some of the line calls that are made and whatnot, and he handled that really well. I think the other part of it too is whenever you go to some of your tackle over sets, which we utilize some, he's a guy that really, really handles well being able to be the heavy tackle too.
Now, did COVID impact was he a turnback guy at any point? Or?
He was not, no.
Was he at prep school?
He was.
Okay. So he at least had an extra year to sort of absorb
Yeah, that's fair, yeah.
Okay. And when you put him out there, did were there sophomore mistakes, or was he pretty much on?
I think there are always mistakes. We all make mistakes. I make mistakes. I've been doing this for a while, but he, I think Everett's part, he has really, really good mobility. He's made himself even stronger, which that comes with due time also, and yet he's picked up the game pretty well. We obviously missed him in the bowl game. He did not make that trip to the bowl game because of a virus. He had a bug then, and yet he's what's neat is I really see us playing at least 3 tackles. Between you look out there and those guys between Karras and Holcomb and Everett, those are 3 guys that were able to get in there some last year too.
And then in the past, because you haven't played that many sophomore linemen, wire to wire, what benefits had you seen in the past? Maybe a Matt Rochelle, did Laufenberg and Ferguson? I'm trying to think of who else would have done.
Yeah, there haven't been a whole lot now that you say it. There really haven't over time.
When you have done it, do they tend to get better at
I think so, absolutely. I think the part about here is if you do get your feet wet a little bit in one of those first 2 years, you just don't forget the probably more than anything else, just the impact down after down, and then having to do that week after week. I think even you take a quarterback like Hazik, I think it comes into play too. You just realize, whoa, that off season, I got to get a little bigger. I got to get a little thicker. I know how that duration works in terms of the course of a season.
Talking about that, when I'm seeing Bo Richter in person the other day, that guy, maybe he looked like that last year, and I just didn't see him up close, but he looks massive. Has he done a lot in the off season?
He's done more. I mean, he has. We felt that way, I thought, last year physically going into the season. He'd made really, really good gains in that regard. And, what'll be interesting with Bo this year is being able to play a few spots, and I know we've talked about that, being able to play maybe on the outside, being able to play on the inside. And I think what we got to pick, and we're going to pick it here in the next couple of days, is just deciding how much do we want to give him in a given week, depending on what that game plan may entail.
And have you seen enough of him as a pass rusher to think he could have a future?
Possibly so. Yeah. What?
In that regard, could he do that?
Yeah. I think so. Absolutely. Last year there were times as an interior pass rusher where you could tell he had a knack for doing it. So that may very well be an additional duty that he has without it becoming overload. Can you get really, really good playing at shortstop and second base? Yeah. I think a good number of guys can, although it's a different turn and some of your alignments and those throws, the angles of those throws are a little bit different. But can you get good at shortstop, catcher, and being the closer? I don't know. At some point, too much is too much.
So which outfield spot is Camby Goffman? So,
I think, Camby, what was good was last year. I believe he could play either safety spot and the nickel. What we've done, we've taken this fall, and it's been primarily strong safety and nickel. And, I think most guys trying to find them 2 spots, usually we wait to do that until they're juniors or seniors. He's certainly, he's beyond capable of handling both spots.
Now, when you say nickel, have you kind of gone away from the spur that kind of does both? Is it more?
Well,
big
here,
package?
no, it's a good question, because here's what we do: is we have a number of different personnel groups on defense now too. We just like there are just so many varied packages that offenses present, whether it's for a particular game. And there are times in a game you say, all right, the times they get into two tight ends, they're really like a two-back offense if that tight end's on the field. Yet if they use the other tight end, they tend to do a lot more, at least 3 or 4 wides. I think you have to be able to match personnel some, and we want to do that. And so that's why we have more personnel groups on defense from week to week.
So is he still a guy who could kind of fit in both, or would he become?
Well, like I said, I mean, what we've done, we've taken him this year, and he's been a strong safety, and he's been a nickel. And now that nickel can also, depending on the personnel group, can morph into a spur-type role too. So, there's a little bit there for a guy in terms of, yet we think we have to do that. I mean, there are times if you have really smaller, extremely quick guys on the field, we want to have more of our smaller, quicker guys on the field. There are times where we want to be a little bit bigger. We got to be able to do that too.
So would you always go with 3 of those personnel being safeties, or would it be 3 corners at times?
That's a great question, because in the NFL it was often a corner. We're probably a little more apt to do it with a safety. We've done it before. James Jones was a guy that we kind of exposed both spots to. You can. We haven't taken a corner this season and had him play both corner and nickel, or both corner and a safety spot.
Okay. Would that be something, given the fact that you mentioned 3 corners the other day who were much in the mix? Do you have a surplus?
Well, I don't know if we do that right now. Just if you're asking personnel specific, I don't think we do that with one of those corners, at least not here in the next month or so. That's not our plan right now. We've talked about it, but it's not one of our plans right now.
And, what do you envision for David Cormier's senior season?
Yeah, I mean, he's, an incredibly hard worker. Just one of those guys that's such an overachiever in terms of how much he strains and extends himself. What's neat is I think it's the first time he's really kind of been in a settled role. I think he realizes that he can be a really, really good contributor for us. I think last year he wondered a little bit, is Brandon Lewis, going to get so much work, that how much will I be involved? Where now I think he realizes he's got a chance in a lot of different ways. He did a heck of a job for us last year in the running game. I mean, you go back and he's got good size. He takes a lot of pride in what he does, and so he did a heck of a job as far as the blocking part of it. We're just going to keep growing and expand in terms of what his role is.
So, okay, for you, what do you envision out of this year? You've been around a long time, and obviously I would imagine you feel like you haven't put it all together for a season. What can you do with your last season?
Yeah, so, I'm fortunate to have this last season. What I want out of it, I want to be healthy. I want to play every single game, and at the end of the day, we want to win football games. So whatever I can do to contribute to that, that's the goal. Win football games, win the CSC, Mountain West, all that. That's what we want. The standard doesn't change from year to year. So individually, I want to stay healthy and help my team win.
And there have been a lot of seniors kind of explode here. Ben Waters, Gerard Sanders had a huge year as a senior. There's precedent. Could you be that guy?
Yeah, so I actually just got off the phone with G, I think about 2 weeks ago. We're just talking about how he went through his senior year and stuff like that. And the advice that he gave me is just take it day by day. Work on today, focus on what we need to get better today. Tomorrow will take care of itself. So that's kind of how I'm approaching it.
Is it going to be harder to shake off any struggles this year? Because it's your senior year, this is your last chance. If you have a drop, is it going to weigh more on you mentally? And how do you prepare for something like that?
No, I don't think so. Like I said earlier, I'm fortunate to have this last year. So everything that we're doing, it could be the last time that you're doing it. So you have to embrace it and you have to enjoy it. Being on that football field, not all games are guaranteed. So you have to enjoy being out there. Making plays, it's not guaranteed. You have to enjoy when you make a play. If you don't, pick your head up, move on, make the next play. You know, you get so many plays out there that it can be easy to put your head down, but as long as you focus on the next play, I think that's the biggest thing, to just shake things off, keep moving forward, and like I said earlier, continue day by day.
And this is year 6 for you at the academy on the grounds, right? You know, do you have any regrets that the path has ended up like this, or are you content and happy with where you are?
I'm happy with where I am, looking towards the future and looking towards from where I've come. You know, I'm happy, and like I said earlier, again, it's a benefit to have this last season. You know, not playing my freshman year, not playing my sophomore year, going home for COVID, having this last year, I think it's been beneficial, and it's last college football games, last opportunity with the guys, stuff like that. So I don't have any regrets. I'm excited for the future. I'm excited for the season and what's to come.
Okay. And we talked to Hazik the other day. I just asked him, is it more fun for him having the experience he has? And he said, yeah. He said that's, you can see things in the offense you didn't see. Do you see that from him? And then can you reap the benefit of that because he sees things and he might not miss an open receiver?
Yeah, so I mean, going from last year to this year, working with him through the offseason, he's taken massive strides. And then coming into this season, like he said, for me, it slowed down. The game slowed down, making reads quicker, reading defenses quicker and stuff like that. So it has slowed down. It's become more fun because I'm starting to see a lot of the things that, coach puts in your head, and you don't really see it when you're younger. You're a younger guy and things are just flowing real fast. But now that I'm older and things are slowing down, I'm starting to see it, and I'm starting to call things out and witness it before it's coming, and then it happens, and it just makes it funner, and then you get to sit back and smile a little bit. It's like, yeah, we worked on that one.
Okay. And then how much pride do you take in blocking? Because obviously that's a huge part of what you do.
I do, yeah, and I'm a bigger body, so, I think that's an area that you can try to dominate the defense on, and especially when you make that good block and Zeke or one of the tailbacks or one of the Z's runs outside you and they take it for a touchdown. I think that's pretty it's a good feeling inside.
Have you gotten to the point where that feels as good as, a big catch?
Especially when it's, a 40, 50-yard touchdown coming past you and you're the one that's, whether you're running the guy over, if it's just a simple block getting in the way, I mean, that's a pretty good feeling.
I'm curious, position-wise, like where are you kind of settling in, or are you going to be floating between kind of multiple spots this year?
I'll kind of be floating between, nickel or strong safety. Especially for like the Army games, I'll move to strong safety because, we run a different defense for those games, Army and Navy. But like during, conventional teams, more of like, Colorado State, Boise, that type of stuff, be at nickel.
So when you're playing that nickel against a conventional team, what are your, are you kind of the hybrid still, or are you more of a defensive back, or are you still going to creep up to the line of scrimmage? Like, what do you do?
More of a hybrid. The coaches, they utilize me in all different aspects. I'm covering, I'll be out down the line, be in the box, really just everywhere. I mean, I'm happy to be in that position to where they have that much trust in me to do all those things.
So do they still call it the spur in terminology in there, or is it now just nickel?
It's funny that you mentioned that. Coach Tove, he has done, he emphasizes that it's called the nickel, even though Coach Knorr calls it the spur. I don't know. It's kind of funny that you bring that up. Every time after meetings, he's always like nickel, and then Coach Knorr is always like spur, But it's actually.
So what was your athletic background? Like, what did you do in high school?
High school, I just did football. I actually come from a background of doing soccer though. I did soccer for like 10 years of my life. I also played basketball too, but I chose football because I felt like it was the easiest way to get to college. So I just thought I'd just do football.
How old were you when you came to that realization?
I think it was like my freshman year. My mom was like, you have to make a choice. It's either football, soccer, or basketball. And I chose football and just stuck with it, and it's paid off. It's gotten me here to this prestigious college, and I had no regrets about it.
Wow. So what do you remember? I mean, as a 15-year-old, 14-year-old, whatever, what did you see in yourself or the sport that made you think that was where your future lay, and that could have gotten you into college at that point?
Nothing much. I just enjoy playing football, and a lot of guys at my school play football, and I mean people play soccer. So I thought that it was like a brotherhood in high school, and I just wanted to be part of that brotherhood, so I just kept playing football.
And then as you started getting recruited, like, what were some of the first recruiting calls you got?
Actually, my first was Air Force.
Oh.
And they were like, if you come down here for a visit, you got an offer. So actually, me and my family, we drove 18 hours to Colorado Springs. Came, this was our first offer, and it really, really was special, you know, that they really seen something in me that most other colleges didn't and stuff. So
Do you remember that call? Do you remember the moment and what you felt like?
I remember the call and everything. I was rushing to my parents' house, or to my parents' room, and was asking them what I should say on the phone and stuff. And yeah, it was very special.
Who was the coach?
Coach Weichert.
Okay.
Mhm.
And who all came on that 18-hour drive?
My whole family. So my older sister, younger brother, my mom and my dad. 18 hours drive.
Wow. Did you know after that trip this is where you're going to go, or was it still kind of a process after that?
It was still kind of a process. I was a little different. When I came here, I wasn't thinking that I was going to like actually come here, like to attend. But my parents and my whole support system, they really seen something in this place that I wasn't really seeing. So I just trusted them, and yeah, just let me here.
So were you a junior when you made that trip? Or
Yes, sir.
Okay. Any other major offers come in that made, that you had to decide between?
There were a couple, Bowling Green, actually our rivalries, Army and Navy, they also offered too, but I knew that I was going to attend the Air Force Academy. So,
And then has it gone, obviously you played last year as a sophomore, right? Last year. Has it kind of gone exactly as you hoped?
yeah, yes, sir. Yes, sir. I have no regrets, playing football, playing here, coming here, everything. I'm glad I made this decision to come here.
And then
Not only as a
majoring
football
in,
player.
cyber? Is that what I saw? Some
Yes,
sort
sir.
of-
Computer science.
Okay.
Yeah.
Got it. What do you want to do with that?
I'm really interested in, just the cyber aspects of the military and everything. And also outside the military, being a programmer or project manager, any of that type of stuff with computers. I don't know, I just feel like it was kind of made for me, and I just really enjoy it at the academy.
So is everything kind of lining up perfect? You chose the right sport to get you in college. Now you got a college that's going to set you up, for some cool opportunities. Do you feel like you've made the right choices?
Oh, yes, sir. Yes, sir. Made the right choices coming here.
And what are your expectations this season, for the defense, first of all?
Expectations is to just take it one game at a time. I feel like we have a very good, talented group. Like Vince Sanford, Trey Taylor, Michael Mack, Chris Herrera. We're very talented and pretty experienced group. We got a lot of returning starters. I feel like if we just come out as a team and really, bond together, we can do some special things this season.
And do you think the experience, because you see so many different teams with the academies and Utah State, with the way they go so fast and stuff, seeing all that once, is that going to help you a lot this year in preparing for the just drastically different styles?
Oh, yes, sir. Yes, sir. Seeing just all the teams we played and just recognizing what they're going to do now. As a sophomore last year, the game was kind of moving kind of fast, but I feel like as you get more experience, the game tries to move slower. I think for all of us as a group, the game will move slower knowing we have more experience, and we've seen the same teams we're going to play this year, last
And
year.
so the way you guys would line up against a commissional team would be you at the nickel/spur, and then Trey at free safety, and then would it be like Jaden Goodwin?
Yes, sir.
Strong safety?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Cool.